It was something that I thought, let me explore this. Let me see if there's something there to be said that hasn't been said. I wasn't caught up in the nostalgia of it. I didn't necessarily want to go back and recreate past glories. What new can be said? And I think we came up with some fresh ideas. The one idea that did propel me was this idea of the Terminator evolving to a new level that we haven't seen before. And by the Terminator, I mean not the new guy, who's obviously a new creation, new powers, that sort of thing, but the Terminator we know and love, which is Arnold's Terminator, the T-800. Now, he's a character that just keeps coming back, relentlessly as this kind of phoenix. You destroy him and he comes back. But obviously it's a different one, right? So you have to buy into this conceit that there are a number of identical Arnold-based Terminator T-800s from the Skynet future that are sent back through time to do various missions. And to see how they each turn out differently, to me, was kind of intriguing. So one is programmed to kill. Remorseless, relentless. This was the first guy, obviously. No conscience, nothing. The blankness of his affect, completely inhuman, even though he's meant to be an infiltrator, which is the big joke of the whole thing, because Arnold doesn't exactly blend, Then you've got the one that's programmed for good. He's not innately good. He's programmed to be good. He doesn't even really want to be good. He'd rather kill people because it's simpler, and he's told not to, and he kind of resists it. And that's there's a little kind of ironic dark humor in movie 2 around that idea. But what happens if you leave a Terminator with his learning computer, with his neural network CPU, just with no mission and no purpose, awash in human society for 2.5 decades? What happens to that guy? To me, that was interesting. Where does he wind up? His job is to try to study, try to mimic human behavior to the extent possible, to parrot the way people speak, to learn. We saw it right in the first film, the guy's yelling at him through the door of the hotel room, and he's got a number of answers, and he chooses one, and he says it, and it works. The guy goes away. We see him learning. It's kind of an intriguing idea. So I thought, let's follow that guy. How can a Terminator, how can a machine age? He's not all machine. He's a mixture of machine internal components and a human organic exterior. So of course he's going to age. He can't not age. Organic systems age. It's built into the cells. The telomeres of the cells get shorter, and the system ages. So of course a Terminator is going to age, right up until the part where his outer form dies, falls off, and then you've probably got half a century of this machine walking around. Now we never play that idea out, but of course it's perfectly permissible for there to be an aging Terminator. Because he's human on the outside. I would submit that Sarah Connor is not just one of the first great action heroes, that nobody has really lived up to that since then. There are actresses that have done the physicality that she did, certainly. But the nuanced, dark, crazy, tortured, complex character, the performance that she gave in movie 2, coupled with her physicality, which is what I think stunned everybody, and the things that she got to do, the competence, the clarity of her action. I don't think anybody's done that since. So of course we want to see her come back. Now Linda had to think twice about whether she wanted to try to compete with that, 25-year earlier version of herself, now at the age of, I don't want to say 60-something, 60 plus. The thing that was intriguing for me was there are no prototypes for the character that she plays in Dark Fate in cinema as we know it. I'm sorry. I may be missing something, but show me the 60-something action hero female. Plenty of 60-something male action heroes, midlife crisis male action heroes. Some of them are just making a living off of, running around with guns, blowing shit up, still getting the girl, at 60, 65, 70, you know. It's kind of silly, really. It's male fantasy, right? Show me the female prototype for that in our cinema. There are plenty of 30-somethings. There's the occasional 40-something. Ain't no 50 or 60-somethings. So that was interesting to me. And I wanted to see it. And I pitched that idea to her. I said, you can be something we haven't seen. That's cool. Well, Legion is the next Skynet, and I think the conceit here is that there is a natural tendency of the universe toward a certain outcome. And that given all the forces at work in human society and human technological development and the forcing factors driving us toward artificial intelligence, which all you have to do is talk to any of the experts on it right now. And everybody wants this. Everybody wants an artificial intelligence equal to humans to help us, to make money, to improve our defense systems and all that stuff. You know, they're all driving toward it. You know, Vladimir Putin has said the country that controls artificial superintelligence will control the world. Quote, unquote. I don't like it when dictators start talking about controlling the world, you know, even if he's joking, which of course he wasn't. The point is, everybody's stampeding toward this thing without any real sense of who's in charge. You know, where are the brakes? Where is the oversight or the ability for governments to control this process? Well, it's a kind of a free enterprise thing, you know. You got enough money, you go develop a superintelligence. Nobody's running the show here. So we could very easily be in a situation where we just replace ourselves with a machine smarter than we are. And by the way, that may not necessarily share our goals. So the thinking is, Skynet was a manifestation of these driving forces. Take Skynet out of the way, well, it's going to happen again. Take Legion out of the way, it's going to happen again. It's going to keep happening because the universe is driving in that direction relentlessly. So the question is, how do you resolve that conflict, that innate conflict? Either we're going to win, but by doing so we'll have to turn away from what we know and our technology and so on and go back to some kind of dark age. The machines are going to win, in which case we're extinct, we don't have to worry about it. Or there's some other path. What's the other path? The Rev 9 is just a bunch of writers sitting in a room talking about the things they want to see. And I said, well, what if you had an endoskeleton with the liquid metal over the outside? And what if he fell off a motorcycle at 90 miles an hour and hit a chain link fence and all the liquid flew off? And all of a sudden there's an endoskeleton standing there and he's still coming after you. That'd be cool. You know, well, that scene's not in the movie, but something very much like it is. And I think Tim said, well, what if it's not an accident? What if they can divide on purpose? One can take this car, one can go on foot, they can fight independently, they're in constant communication. So that's a more formidable foe. So that's the path that we took. They can divide by choice. I think it would be great if audiences sort of asked themselves what their individual impact on the world might be. You know, which is why the Terminator said, do you believe in fate or do you believe that we change the future every second with the choices that we make? I love that moment for Arnold's character in this film. So we should all walk out of that movie and ask ourselves, you know, are we making the future every second with every choice that we make? Hell yeah, we are. So make good choices, you know, and value yourself. Value yourself and the impact that you have on the world, on the people around you. It's a butterfly effect, right? The choices that we make emanate outward, and through time may take on huge importance.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,